What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. Got a post-fight video for you guys. Jorge Linares versus Rocky Juarez. I believe it was a lightweight bout last night. Juarez got completely outboxed in this matchup, and I had a bad night of predictions. Really, I was like 2 out of 3, and the one that I got right, I was kind of off on. But it is what it is. You got a 50-50 chance, so any man can win. That's how I look at boxing. You only have a puncher's chance. That's how I look at it. But in this fight, you know, Rocky Juarez got completely outboxed rounds 1 to round 10. I didn't really look up this fight that much. I assumed that it was a 12-round fight because Juarez typically fights 12 rounders, compared to Linares. Linares, fights mostly 10 rounders. So, and most of his fights don't even get to that 10th round. So, anyway, it is what it is. So, anyway, in this fight, from like I said, rounds 1 through 10, Linares just went when he purely outboxed and outskilled and out hustled Rocky Juarez, and Rocky Juarez was actually fighting a decent fight. He was throwing his jab, but he couldn't set up anything against Linares because he kept moving, and he couldn't. So he kind of took the jab away, and he couldn't set up anything. And you could see that Juarez was trying to, from rounds like 3 to 5. Juarez kept trying to land that left hook, the same left hook that Juan Carlos Salgado knocked him out with. But I don't think that, I honestly don't think that Juarez has the amount of power that Salgado has or possesses in his left hand. So I think that was and on top of that, this was, and I was a little worried about it as well. If Linares could take big shots, because I believe this is a bigger weight, bigger weight for both fighters. So I wasn't too sure about it, but I saw that Linares came up in weight, was like 132 pounds, and it's simply purely outboxed, because you could really say it's a lightweight bout because it's over super featherweight. So, but Linares went in, he moved beautifully, he boxed beautifully, didn't take any risk in this matchup until maybe the later stages of the fight, when he knew he had the fight in the bag. He started to, because in the first, and the crowd was booing, and they were pretty much pro Juarez, because Juarez was trying to press the action, and he kept coming forward, like he always did. And honestly, I would have been, it would be interesting to see how Linares would fare in the fight that would be 12 rounds if he would have went 12 against Juarez, because in the final round, that's when Juarez started to open up a little bit more and started to kind of find a bit of his rhythm, because Juarez, to me, has always been kind of a slow starter. But the movement was very good movement, very good angles, threw his shots from angles. He kind of tried to he pretty much kept Juarez from coming in the center of the ring, using his jab to offset, Juarez, from coming in and trying to make it a fight and offset his pressure. All that Juarez is trying to do, and Linares just had a very good fight. And you see that a lot with a fighter who comes out of a knockout loss. A fighter who comes out of a knockout loss, sometimes, and especially being knocked out the way Linares was against Salgado. A lot of fighters come out and they become more well aware, and they become more safe, and sometimes it's not as crowd pleasing as their fighting once was. And I think that this style, because you see Linares, and I've always said this about Linares, he's very good with his legs. He could box on the move, and he could fight. And in this fight, he did a little bit of fighting, but he did more boxing. So, which was the smart thing to do against a fighter who's going to apply pressure on him. I would like to see a little bit of improvement, because he did kind of have this tendency to move himself onto the ropes and kind of get trapped a little bit. and kind of move himself into the corner. If he could kind of, just move into a different angle, into kind of maybe an opposite angle, and throw his jab a little bit more when he's on the ropes. I think he could improve that, or instead of getting trapped on the ropes, because that was a big, that's very iffy against Rocky Juarez, a fighter who likes to get you on the ropes and just pressure you, but his jab wasn't really landing. Linares just simply out punched him out, outlanded him, out boxed him, did everything right in this matchup, and I was completely wrong. I thought that and I guess because I didn't do enough research regarding the fight, about how it was contested, because I assumed that it was a 12-round bout, and so I just said Juarez 12-round knockout, but it was a 10-rounder. So, but as well, Juarez started to get more comfortable toward the end. So, like I said, it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if it was a 12-rounder, and I think that would be a good way of preparing Linares for his next title opportunity. If see how he fares in a 12-round matchup against a fighter who's pretty much gonna give him rounds. So anyway, that was my thoughts on this fight. I'm gonna move on to the next one. But anyway, that was Distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.